Vieques, Puerto Rico, a tiny Caribbean island whose calm was once punctuated by the sound of bombs. For 60 years, the US military and other armies used Vieques as their training ground.
The Navy bombed Vieques from jets, ships, tanks, bazookas, mortars, experimented with new weapon systems. Then the US military invited NATO countries and other allies to come. The Navy rented Vieques to weapons manufacturers to test new weapon systems. Everything in the US arsenal from the Second World War until 2003 was dropped on Vieques. We'd feel the explosion and then see the bomb cloud come up over the hillsides. We would watch as that cloud would move, bringing this, horrific toxicity into the community.
The island of 10,000 struggled for decades to get their land back. And on May the 1st, 2003, the US government ended bombing on Vieques. Bunkers that once held thousands of bombs were shuttered. Land used by the military was converted into nature reserves. But a decade after this victory, Vieques remains an island in trouble.
The people of Vieques are very sick, not because they were born sick, but because their community was sickened as a result of many factors. And one of the most important is the contamination they were subjected to for more than 60 years. These people have a higher rate of cancer, of hypertension, of kidney failure.
Ortiz Roque took hair and blood samples from hundreds of Vieques residents, and what she found was startling. High levels of mercury, arsenic, lead, and other heavy metals.
The women of childbearing age in Vieques are drastically more contaminated than the rest of the women in Puerto Rico. Compared to only 6.6% in Puerto Rico, 27% of the women in Vieques we studied had sufficient mercury to cause neurological damage in their unborn babies.
Vieques has a 30% higher rate of cancer than the rest of Puerto Rico, and nearly 4 times the rate of hypertension.
What's the name again?
Carmen Valencia fought to bring a mobile mammography clinic to the island. They performed 400 mammograms in a week.
Here, there is every type of cancer. Bone cancer, tumors, skin cancer, everything. We have friends who are diagnosed and 2 or 3 months later, they die. These are very aggressive cancers.
Vieques has only basic health care, with a birthing clinic and an emergency room. There are no chemotherapy facilities, and the sick must travel hours by ferry or plane for treatment.
We have such poor services in the hospital here that we depend just on the person in the emergency room. If that person doesn't attend to them, well, our people die.
Seafood is an important part of the diet here, making up roughly 40% of the food eaten by the islanders.
We have bomb remnants and contaminants in the coral, and it's clear that that type of contamination passes on to the crustaceans, to the fish, to the bigger fish that we ultimately eat. Those heavy metals in high concentrations can cause damage and cancer in people.
But the US Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry says it could find no relationship between mercury in fish and the military operations in Vieques.
They choose the studies that are going to support their declarations, and one of their latest declarations is that women should limit how much fish they eat because of the high levels of mercury and other metals. The question I ask this agency is why now, today, should a woman change her diet when before the same diet didn't damage her fetus or harm her pregnancy, and today, yes? What is the difference? Easy. It's a contamination left by the Navy.
In the face of an intransigent US government, longtime activists can only call on their community to continue to fight.
My kidneys are deteriorating, and I'm starting to accept that within a year or 2, I won't have much strength left. Maybe that's going to limit me, but it's not going to stop me. Now, 10 years later, I say to my people, either we die from a big bomb or we die slowly. We can't choose to keep dying slowly and bury more of our family members.